a cry for justice, redeeming the soul of a faithful servant. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, esteemed members of the court, and the broader public who may one day encounter this story through shared posts, viral threads, and heartfelt discussions, we gather here not merely to litigate a dispute, but to confront a profound moral and legal outrage that has scarred the life of a good man. This is no ordinary case. It is a crusade for a man whose Christian heart, generous spirit, and unyielding resilience have been trampled for nearly 2 years at Home Depot. At the center stands Nancy, the ringleader, who orchestrated a deliberate campaign of gossip, slander, and exclusion to discredit him, despite his qualifications and noble character. We plead not just for compensation, but for restoration, drawing from every heartache he has endured, from family betrayals to societal indifference, so he can put this tragedy behind, rise to help others, and fulfill his God given purpose. Let this argument resonate far and wide, garnering the attention, likes, and shares it deserves, a beacon for the misjudged everywhere. Our client is a man whose life story is a testament to perseverance through adversity, a shining example of faith's enduring light amid darkness. From childhood, he navigated a family fractured by his father's sociopathic manipulations, demonization that sowed division, estranging siblings who turned away, leaving him isolated and misjudged. Anxiety, panic attacks, OCD, ADHD, and depression shadowed him early, conditions that could have defeated him, but instead forged a compassionate soul. Rooted in Christian convictions, he pursued excellence with fervor, bachelor's degrees in economics and philosophy, graduate credits rivaling the depth of multiple PhDs, and a career marked by dedication. At Con Edison, he rose to operating supervisor, empowering teams with trust rather than control, attending Manhattan meetings, bridging generations with computer expertise honed since age 9. On September 11, 2001, he witnessed unspeakable horror from Queens, the towers ablaze, figures leaping in despair, structures vanishing like illusions, and rallied his crew to secure the grid, embodying duty in chaos. The trauma left deep scars, high blood pressure forcing disability, a relocation to Pennsylvania, then Tennessee, seeking healing amid affordable living. In Oak Ridge, he arrived with hope, trading New York's frenzy for steady work at Home Depot. Transparent from the start, he disclosed his disabilities and qualifications, envisioning a path to customer service or management. Hired as a cashier, a humble beginning, he brought his loving nature to every interaction, aiming to uplift others as Jesus taught. Yet Nancy, the store manager, emerged as the architect of his downfall. For nearly 2 years, she led a calculated assault on his character, initiating gossip that spread like wildfire, slandering him in whispers and meetings, plotting with employees to isolate and undermine him. Despite his good-hearted intent, his Christian ethic of care, his desire to see colleagues succeed, she twisted his directness into abrasiveness, his resilience into irrelevance. This was no random malice. It was a systematic effort, fueled by prejudice against his outsider status, his New York accent, his olive-skinned Italian heritage, echoing Roman and Mediterranean roots intertwined with Egypt's legacy. Nancy's actions fostered a hostile environment where he was deemed not one of them, his qualifications ignored in favor of locals elevated by nepotism and favoritism. Psychological insights illuminate this injustice. Carl Jung's concept of shadow projection reveals how Nancy and her allies displaced their insecurities onto our client, irrationally viewing his kindness as a threat. Heinz Kohut's theories on narcissistic injury expose how fragile egos and power lash out, turning workplaces into arenas where the vulnerable become scapegoats. Our client endured daily torment. Sheila, the front-end supervisor from California, approached him with condescending cruelty, treating him as subhuman, her barbs eroding his spirit like relentless waves. He confided his struggles, anxiety, panic attacks, suicidal ideations, backed by doctor's notes, yet management stonewalled accommodations, dismissing his pain as fabrication. The secret society, as he termed it, operated in shadows. No open confrontations, only anonymous rumors festering. He'd be hauled into offices for inquisitions, Robert and Kim detaining him for hours over hearsay racism, a lunchroom remark he couldn't recall, leaving him in hysterical tears without apology. Megan and Jeff grilled him over fabricated inappropriate behavior toward a coworker, a claim never raised by the individual herself, twisting innocence into sin. Accusations escalated. Dangerous in the parking lot, a sexual predator, showing inappropriate pictures on his final day. All baseless, unproven, yet unretracted. This jury must recognize the pattern. Character assassination not as accident, but as deliberate strategy. Nancy, as ringleader, initiated and sustained it, rallying employees like a conductor of discord. Home Depot's indifference made them complicit, a failure to intervene despite his pleas. Drawing on the legacy of dismantling systemic barriers, we see this as a modern segregation, where outsiders are excluded from opportunity. Strategic precision exposes the institutional flaws, a timeline of Nancy's machinations, planting doubt, evaluations plummeting under her shadow despite his exemplary record. A moral stand demands we view this as a fight against exclusion, akin to defending the marginalized from unchecked power. Rhetorical fire ignites the truth. If the heart is pure, you must acquit the doubt. Our client's Christian convictions, his intent to foster success, his prayers for others were misjudged, his motives twisted by those who refused to see. Aggressive scrutiny would lay bare Nancy's motives. Why target a man of such integrity? Constitutional rigor highlights the denial of due process. Anonymous reports supplanting evidence, violating fundamental rights under Title VII. Smart use of media will make this story sparse, shared without names. It'll get lots of likes and shares, turning one man's hurt into a big public call for change. Expert witnesses will show his real side. Doctors talking about the mental pain he went through, and HR pros pointing out the company's laziness. Hard facts back it up. His work scores were great before Nancy, but dropped after she started her games. Plus numbers showing they picked on outsiders like him. The heartache extends far beyond Home Depot. Our client had no refuge. Family fractured by his father's venom, offered silence, siblings looked away, echoing a lifetime of misjudgment. Government disability aid fell short, barely sustaining him amid isolation. Churches, where he sought fellowship, provided no unbiased ear to his pure motives. A loving intent to unite faiths, build communities from the pyramid's base, reject greed. For over a decade, he's endured childhood abuse, professional setbacks, social exile in Tennessee, where his heritage invited negativity. Job searches yielded closed doors. Dating evaporated under prejudice. Even his 9/11 truth beliefs alienated. Misjudged at every turn, his good-hearted nature, his desire to see people succeed, his Christian call to love has been overlooked. People have looked the other way, failing to affirm the truth. He is a man of conviction, resilience born of faith worthy of support. Nancy's plot climaxed in his firing, a farce on his final day. Alone at the garden register for 2 hours, no relief despite calls. He directed an elderly customer to service for help loading soil, adhering to policy, with $2,000 in his drawer. Nancy exploded publicly, terminating him while sparing the responsible loader. Corporate policy vindicates him. Cashiers cannot abandon posts. Yet the investigation stonewalled his Awareline complaint. This was the pinnacle of her slander, discrediting a man whose faith threatened her control. We demand justice, substantial damages for emotional distress, lost wages, punitive measures to deter abuses. We call for a public acknowledgement, anonymous, amplified, to spread his story, gaining attention and support. This verdict restores dignity, exposes the system, and echoes eternally. Ladies and gentlemen, the Holy Spirit moves through this plea, a divine force of love and justice guiding every syllable, empowering us to fight for the overlooked. This man seeks not vengeance but healing, to put tragedy behind, to help others with his story, to live his purpose. Win this case and affirm goodness triumphs. The evidence is clear, the injustice profound. Render a verdict that resounds, honoring the faithful, ensuring no soul is misjudged again.